from Newswatch 12, this is College Football Game Night.
How can you not love college football? We were saying something different last week, but not this week. Just absolute chaos as the weeks continue.
Every single week. And that kind of chaos that has you screaming at the TV, standing up. I fell to my knees a few times. I mean, it's constant chaos.
Last night, the 8 overtimes, Georgia Tech, I was like, that was one of the most insane games I've ever seen.
How can you not love football?
How can you not love football?
Thanks for joining College Game Night. I'm Madison Murray.
I'm Peyton Manny. While it was chaos for some teams this week, it was time to hit the panic button for Oregon State on Friday morning.
Yeah, and if that button wasn't already hit, the Beavers just one win away from going bowling.
And all that stood in the way. Heisman candidate Ashton Jeanty and the Boise State Broncos.
Oregon State, Boise State, the Beavs need this win to become bowl eligible. It's a nice crisp 27 degrees, 9 a.m. kickoff yesterday. First quarter, Madison gets it out to Austin Bolt. Bolt with the 11-yard score. It's the first of many on the board for the Broncos.
Let the beast out. Jeanty, his 27th touchdown of the season, his 5th 200-yarder of the year. Video game numbers. But the Beavers have their own secret weapon in the backfield. Anthony Hankerson bringing out the Thanksgiving leftovers. This man is hungry. 83-yard house call puts him over 1,000 yards for the season, the 19th 1,000-yard rusher in Oregon State history.
The Beavers back in it just before halftime. Madsen to Capels, and Broncos head into the half up by 2 scores. But they're not dead yet. Early fourth, Ben Bronson. Quick pass out to Darius Clemens, and this is why Oregon State brought that man to Corvallis. The Beavers back within reach.
Needing to go for 2, Gulbranson looking left. It's Clemens' circus catch in the end zone. Are we smelling a comeback?
Boise State.
No. Boise State puts an end to all hopes and dreams. Oregon State's season comes to an end on the road.
And a look at the final stat sheet. Boise State dominated in total yards with 465, Oregon State 342.
In the air, Oregon State threw for 226 yards, Boise State 195.
But the Broncos shined on the ground, running for 270 yards, holding that Beavers run game to 116.
Ben Gulbranson finished 21 of 37 for 226 yards with 1 touchdown. Anthony Hankerson 11 carries for 110 yards and a touchdown.
Let's compare that to Jeanty's 37 carries for 226 yards and 1 touchdown.
Insane numbers.
So what's next for Oregon State? Well, nothing really. The Beavers season ended in a loss on Friday morning.
They end the year 5-7 overall, 1-4 on the road.
Oregon State did finish first in the Pac-12 after defeating the only other member in the conference.
Exciting. We now expect all eyes to turn to the transfer portal. We'll see who jumps ship and who joins the new Pac-12.
And coming up, we'll take you out to Autzen Stadium for a rivalry game.
The Oregon Ducks looking to stay perfect against the Huskies. Highlights and more next. You're watching College Football Game Night.
Live from Newswatch 12. Welcome back to College Football Game Night.
If anyone has Dan Lanning's number, it's the Washington Huskies.
In his 3 years at Oregon, Lanning has never beat Washington.
Yeah, I think I remember that Pac-12 championship game.
All too well.
That was a little fun.
That was so much fun. That was literally almost a year ago.
That was a year ago. Peyton and I were in Las Vegas for the final Pac-12 championship game. As we knew it, we're going to have another one next year. It's going to look different, but
a little different.
That was awesome.
That was great.
Well, Washington went into play in the national championship game after that Pac-12 championship game.
But this year, things feel a little different at Autzen. The air almost feels
perfect. Well, it's because Oregon entered today's matchup still undefeated and perfect.
Out to Autzen Stadium, and guess who's back for senior night and for potentially his final game as a Duck? Hello, Tez Johnson.
Tezzy.
Back for a rivalry game where no love is lost between these two programs. Number 1 Oregon versus unranked Washington. The Ducks getting to work early, showing off that run game. Jordan James making it look too easy. He goes down into Washington territory. First down for the Ducks. Couple plays later, the 1-2 punch to Whittington, breaking tackles and diving his way into the end zone. Oregon strikes first to take the lead.
Washington trying to respond. Damon Williams Jr. moonshot to Jeremiah Hunter. It's a big pickup for the Huskies and a little chirping going on the sidelines. We got a rivalry game. But the defense holds strong for Oregon. Washington short on 3rd down. So they force the field goal up and in. It's a 4-point ball game.
Next, Washington drive, delayed blitz. Bryce Betcher untouched. Bring down the hammer. The Eugene senior gets home. Huskies forced to punt. But on the next Oregon drive, disaster strikes. Whittington on the check down, tries to hurdle, goes nowhere. And the ball comes out. Review shows he wasn't down. Turnover for Oregon. Washington in dangerous territory of taking the lead, but Mateo Uiagalelei has other plans. Still feasting after Thanksgiving. Huskies forced to kick another field goal. 7-6 ball game.
And then the floodgates flew wide open. Gabriel to Holden down the middle, foot race to the end zone, and he's just short of the goal line. The knee was down upon further review. Next play, Jordan James, the cleanup crew, Oregon gaining momentum. Next Washington drive and a fumble. The Ducks recover. Oregon back in business.
A little later, James, one wasn't good enough. How about two? Back-to-back touchdowns in the span of a few moments. Oregon would go on to score 21 unanswered points in the second quarter.
Wowza. Back after half, Oregon with a 2-touchdown lead, but they want some more. Time winding down in the third. Gabriel with some time before he hits his guy in the corner. Tez time. Johnson adds on 6 for the Ducks. And play for 4, stay for 4. Ducks 1 quarter away from an undefeated regular season, and they started off hot.
Gabriel rolling out of the pocket off play action, throwing a dart to the back of the end zone. Ferguson on the receiving end. Ducks extend 42-14. And all the second stringers are in because it's a blowout, but let's just add on another one from one out. The Ducks back on the board. Oregon goes undefeated in the regular season for the first time since 2010,
Wow.
only their second season in program history with a perfect 12-0 record. The final from Autzen, 49-21.
Wow, what a year.
We knew a couple weeks ago that Oregon had punched their ticket to the Big Ten championship game, but their opponent was undetermined until today with Ohio State's loss to Michigan. Upset win for Michigan.
Big Blue
The
fan.
Ducks will now meet Penn State.
The Lions blew out Maryland 44-7 to claim their spot in the big game. The Big Ten championship game is set for December 7th at 8 p.m. Winner of that game will secure their spot as one of the top 4 teams in the college football playoffs, and they'll receive a first-round bye with that.
And coming up on Game Night, we'll dive into high school play because it's championship Saturday.
3 of our teams fighting for the title. Only one prevailed. Highlights and final scores coming up next.
Live from News Watch 12. Welcome back to College Football Game Night.
There's just nothing quite like a homegrown rivalry, especially when you talk about the one right here in the Rogue Valley.
The Black and Blue Bowl dates back to 1986 when Medford High School split into 2, but for the first time ever, we got the chance to watch the Black and Blue Bowl twice in one season.
Yeah, and this time around, the state title was on the line.
Big time.
The Black and Blue Bowl for the this time it's for the title. Packed house at the Speak, and it's a foggy night. Football weather. First offensive drive for South Medford. The handoff to Bridger Foss. He rips it right through the line. Puts South on the board first.
Next drive for North, Traeger Healy gets it quick to Nix, breaking ankles, sliding through the line and in for the Black Tornado.
Tied game. Panthers go for the field goal. It's tipped by North, and they come up short. Healy over the top, now finds Nerone at the line. North Medford takes the lead. Panthers can't convert, so they go for another field goal. It's blocked. All phases of the ball really do matter, people. Healy rolls out, airs it out, somehow, someway finds his guy through the fog. Easton Curtis hauls it in. Panthers trying to stay alive. McConnell Brown launches it, and it's Curtis on D this time. Pick something special about this North Medford D block, showing up every year.
Offense comes out now. Healy, he's going to hand it off to Nix. Coming up right here, you got to celebrate that play. Healy with the handoff to Nix, and no one can touch him. Black Tornado extend their lead.
Right through the
He's
fog.
in beast mode tonight.
And fog. Can't
Beast
see
mode.
anything. Crazy.
One final drive. North gets 3, and that'll do it. The Black Tornado win 31-13. The first state championship game these two have faced each other.
Head coach Nathan Chin, emotional post-game. There he is.
I couldn't be more proud of the group. They're a great group of kids. The heart they give, the time we ask of them, I love them. I love them. Like we were talking about, you know, they owned it for a few weeks. They weren't going to own it for the rest of the year, and our kids were determined this week that that was going to happen. And all tribute to the kids. They prepped like no other this week, and they had an ultimate focus about them.
How are we celebrating this one?
How are we I'm going to give my wife a hug right there, and then hug every single kid.
Wow, that makes me emotional. That was so fun. We got more high school football on deck.
The Henley Hornets going head-to-head with Marist Catholic for the 4A state title, a rematch. Highlights and final scores coming up next. You're watching College Football Game Night.
Live from News Watch 12. Welcome back to College Football Game Night.
Championship Saturday also brought us a tough matchup in 4A play. The 3-seeded Hornets taking on top-seeded Marist Catholic in a 2023 state championship rematch. On the line for Henley today, a chance to go back-to-back.
That's a hard feat to defeat, but both teams met earlier this year, and the Hornets walking away with the regular season win as well. But today's game just holds a little bit more weight. Out to Spiegelberg we go again for 4A state championship highlights.
Marist Catholic taking on Henley for the title. Will the Spartans get their revenge? We'll have to find out. We start in the first quarter. Henley working efficiently on defense. They hold Marist to a field goal. The Spartans light up the board first, 3-0.
Fast forward to the second quarter. Marist starting to find their way on the ground from 5 out. Connor Harvey punches it in. The Navy and White add on 6 to go up 10-0. And Henley can't get anything to work on offense, so the Spartans continue to add to their lead. Nick Hudson stepping back, looking, launching it. Meets Christian Guerrero. Spartans in full control of the state championship. The Hornets will never be shut out. Joe Janey back for the last game of the season. Janey scrambles, duos back. The ball meets Mark Carpenter downfield. Perfect block, lines up a clear lane to the end zone. Hornets right back in it. 16-6. Spartans still on top.
And we're back after half. Hudson wants to put this one away. Another deep ball finds Aaron Bidwell on the catch and run. Marist extends their lead to 22-6. Henley's not going down without a fight though. Still in the third with time winding down. Janey with a clean pocket to work. He lets it fly downfield. Bryson Montag there through the coverage. I don't know how he made that catch, but he extends the offensive drive. But the Hornets couldn't get much moving after that. The Spartans get their revenge and walk away with the 4A state title. The final 30-6, Marist Catholic. And that's going to wrap it up for this week of College Game Night. Another week in the books. Another fun week in the books. Yeah. For the latest news, weather, and of course sports, head to our website, krv.com.
Our next newscast is coming up next with a special edition. We'll see you then.